Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 23 Formula 2 season in the 2022 F2 cars. We are here for the 5th round of the championship in Monaco. This is going to be a tough one. I have not driven Monaco in several years probably. I tend not to put it on the calendar when I do custom seasons, which is what I've been doing more so recently. But since we're doing the full 2022 Formula 2 season, there is no avoiding it. We have to contend with this oversized go-kart track. So yeah, it's is not going to be an easy round, but we'll see how it goes. I put in quite a few laps in practice to get up to speed. I forgot just how narrow this circuit really is, and even one thing I noticed in practice as we head through Saint Devot, it's very difficult on pit exit, both when you're driving out and also you have to watch out for other cars exiting a pit lane, something that we will have to pay attention to in the feature race. But anyway, we continue on our qualifying lap then as we navigate the hairpin for the first time, and let's see how the rest of this lap pans out. I've had to turn the difficulty down quite a lot for this round, just due to my lack of skill around this circuit, let's just say that. But anyway, into the Nouvelle Chicane. We're completely out of control heading into there, but somehow we managed to come out the other side without any contact with the barriers. So now back into the swimming pool section, bit deep into there, and that's probably one of the corners I struggle with the most. I need to be further to the right on entry to the swimming pool. I never do it because that barrier is scary. Anyway, we now head through the final corner and out onto the main, not very straight once again, and we'll complete our flying lap. We go fastest of the session so far. We will see if that sticks. Of course, in Monaco, it's a split qualifying where only 11 cars are on track at a time of the 22. So we can't check in on how our teammate is going for a little while yet. So yeah, we just have to wait for the end of the session to see what the full results are going to look like.
So qualifying is complete and we're all set for an exciting race tomorrow. Your top three are
Dewitt, Pourchaire, Amory, Cordial.
With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the feature race tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Alrighty, so we do manage to take pole position ahead of Amory Cordial, who will start third in the race, second in our session, and Yumu Iwasa, Frederick Vesti and Dennis Hauger rounding out the odds of the top 10, and all the others missing out. In the other session, Teo Portier, Richard Vashaw, our teammate Marino Sato, as well as Enzo Fittipaldi and Jane Deruvala fill out the evens of the top 10. Jane Deruvala takes reverse grid pole. Let's get into it.
Welcome to one of, if not the most iconic race circuit in Formula 2. A track with absolutely no room for error, a track that requires every bit of skill these young drivers can muster. We're getting ready for lights out here in Monte Carlo. The Circuit de Monaco is, for all practical purposes, pretty much unchanged since its 1929 introduction. It's strange to consider, but this 2.1 mile lap will take the drivers here around almost an entire country. 19 corners, but not that many opportunities for overtaking. Instead, this is a track that rewards technical skill. I'm Alex Jakes, and I'm joined once again by the GP2 champion, Davide Valsecchi. Davide, today's race takes place on one of the most infamous street circuits in motorsport. What is it about this track that makes it stand out?
Alex, I'm very happy to be here. Monaco is a short track, but the wall is just after the white line. The drivers need to stay aware from the line and from the wall. And this is so important to start in the first two rows if you want to compete for the victory.
Alrighty, so here we are on the grid for the sprint race here in Monaco. In terms of strategy, we're going to be using these super soft compound tyres once again. that strategy glitch is probably going to ruin our lives if we don't do this. So we'll see. We're going to have very old tyres by the end of the race. Theoretically, apparently, we can't make the end, but we'll see how it goes. We've got 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go for the start of the sprint race here in Monaco. It's a brilliant launch off the line, but we couldn't really do anything with it immediately there. We may have to be looking back, as there was just no space for us to try and push forwards for any more positions as Yuri Vips draws alongside. We'll get back past him though and move ourselves up into 9th position once again. So it was a good start for us, and we've gained 1 spot. Meanwhile, Dennis Hauger has taken the lead, and he will be alive and life there out in front. Meanwhile, we go for the move. Big lunge down the inside, and we get past Richard Bashaw there. And a bit of contact on the exit, and that has sent us spearing into the side of the Red Bull car up ahead. That was a Yumu Iwasa. Richard Bashaw has not come off so well, though. Somehow, we actually made quite significant contact with the barrier right there. So did Bashaw, as we just tangled, and it just dragged us both across at that moment. It started when we forced Vashaw into the exit wall at Mirabeau, and yeah, that has not been ideal, and we actually have a red flag now, which is
An incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time, and there are so far no plans for a safety car.
So the red flag, brand new for this game, and the first one I've ever seen.
It's essentially a free stop, so let's think very carefully about our strategy for the rest of this race.
Don't know what that no safety car message was about, but anyway, as you can see, we once again have the chance to revise our strategy. However, we're going to do the same thing. We will stick to the super soft compound tyres and run them to the end of the race. Still says we can't theoretically make it there, but we will make it happen. We'll just have to conserve the tyres a little bit throughout the race. So yeah, with all of that said, let's get back into the race.
Good luck out there again.
Good one. Alrighty, 5 red lights are on, and it's lights out, and away we go. Round 2 here at Monaco, and it's again, we get a good start, but we don't really have anywhere to go with it. The track narrows up so much. We're already driving in the pit lane as we graze the barrier there, and Yuri Vips sends it around the outside. We lose out in that moment, but we're still in the race with no damage to the car, and that's the most important thing. But we're in 9th position once more. Big lunge down the inside of Yuri Vips though into Mirabeau, and we can't quite make that move work. We didn't want to be quite as aggressive as the previous time. Judging by how that one panned out, we'll have to be a little bit more careful. And yeah, that's just a little reminder of how close the barriers are here in Monaco and how difficult it is to run side by side. So here we go through the tunnel. We're a long way back from Yuri Vips now. I've really been struggling with the hairpin and the 2 corners after. Those ones have been among the corners I lose the most time, and you can see through the chicane there, not getting a great exit. As we continue on, we do make the move down the inside of Yuri Vips into the chicane, and we can't quite get it done. Very close as we have to slot in behind him. Little look down the inside of Tabac now. You can't run side by side through here, and we just back out in time.
P9, you're running P9, keep going. Okay, Vips just ahead, push, push. Less than a second separates you. They're on fresh softs. The car behind is Lawson. Okay, the gap is
we go
less than
down
a
the inside of
second.
Yuri Vips,
They're on
cutting off
fresh
the engineer
softs.
there,
Now
but
gap to first
I picked a
place
terrible
is
time to do that.
8.2
Anyway, we've
seconds.
made the move
Your
on Yuri
window
Vips
doesn't open
at
for more than 20
the
laps.
casino
Okay, you've got
corner.
25
Unusual
laps to
place,
go.
but we had the run there, and yeah, that really was it was an aggressive move, but maybe a bit of contact, but we got through and gained that position. We're now up into the points, so you know, in that moment we had nothing to lose. Or we do have the fastest lap against our name, which is I guess a point we can get outside of the top 8, but anyway, we want as many points as we can from the sprint race, and we are making overtakes at the moment. That was around the outside of Teo Porcher, and that is worthy of a replay. We just got the run and just went full send around the outside. Porcher gave us the room, and that was some good racing between the two of us. So more of that, and we could get a nice fistful of points. That's a close moment with the barrier there. We just cranked it sideways on the exit of Casino, and that could have been very bad. Meanwhile, we're on board with Daruvula, who's just clipped the barrier, and a lapse of concentration there, perhaps a bit of frustration after losing out on the race start, and just clips the barrier on the exit of Casino. So it's been an exciting corner in this race, and the gamble does not pay off for Daruvula on that occasion, and he trudges on with that damaged front wing as a piece of the end plate, I believe it was, came off there. Meanwhile, we are just giving our teammate a little nudge through the Nouvelle chicane now into back. Can we make a move on our teammate sometime soon? I'm on the phone to the engineer at the moment, trying to orchestrate some team orders. He's not having it though. We've got to make this move properly, and we need to make our way past Sato, and we can chase after the group ahead, because now everyone is starting to stack up in a train. The field for spread wasn't that massive to begin with, but with Daruvula running third with that damaged front wing as we go late on the brakes there, not able to do anything in that moment. But yeah, with Daruvula running third with that damaged front wing, he is really holding up the entire field behind. So we can potentially take advantage of that as we now go for the move nice and cleanly down the inside of Sato. We can't get it done though. We sort of tripped over the inside curb and just almost turned it too much. We have a look down the inside into the hairpin. That isn't going to quite work for us though, but we do have the pace relative to our teammate. We just need to find the right opportunity, and it might be this one down into the chicane late on the brakes, and we get the move fully done before we get to the apex, and that was a nice move on Marino Sato. So now next up is Ayumu Iwasa, who we ploughed into the side of at the start of the race. We get the move done on him just about, I think. We're still running side by side on the exit of the hairpin, side by side down into Portier now. Let's see if we can carry the momentum through here, and we do just that. Iwasa has to back out on the inside line, and that was another tricky move there.
Okay, the underbody's taken some damage. You might start to notice it soon. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
And a little bit of damage to the car. I don't know if it was from that exchange or something a bit earlier, but it could even be lingering damage from that first lap 1 crash. But yeah, there is some damage to the underbody of our car. Meanwhile, that is Jane Daruvula up ahead, holding up the field, and we are really closing on to the back of this lot as we try and find a way through. Next up on the road is Fittipaldi, and then Daruvula right ahead of him. So yeah, this move on Fittipaldi could actually prove to be quite difficult, because with Daruvula going so slowly in front, we can't necessarily go full send, or we might make contact with Daruvula. And the longer this race goes on, the more it will suit the soft compound tyre runners. Remember I said we started on these super soft tyres, which is giving us fantastic grip at the moment, but there will eventually be a point where they start to falter, and they'll hit the cliff. But at the moment they're still seeming pretty good, but yeah, we do need to just watch out for that. Can already start to tell that some of that advantage we had at the very start of the race in terms of grip has started to fade. But anyway, we'll see if we can still make use of what we had left as we go for the move now on Fittipaldi. Lunge down the inside, and this should be done. A bit sideways on the exit as we again just sort of trip up on that inside curb. We can't do anything there, but we get a great run up the hill in the slipstream. Let's see if we can do anything here. Can we make the move all the way around the outside and get this done on the inside into the casino? Still running side by side, and Fittipaldi holds it there all the way around the outside. Brilliant effort. But as we go down now into Mirabeau, surely we can get it done here. Fittipaldi's still there through that very tight little section, and he's still on the inside, well, on the outside now through the hairpin, and we get left just enough room. This is a great fight between us. It's been going on ever since turn 1, and Fittipaldi holds on brilliant driving to maintain that position. We threw everything at it, could not get through, and now we are looking in our mirrors once again as meanwhile behind, this is Clement Novalak, and he's got a mechanical failure, still makes some attempt to drive around the chicane before pulling off. Interesting decision there, but anyway, we catch up to Fittipaldi once again. We send it down the inside this time, but we still can't get the move done. We just compromised our exit too much, but we have so much more momentum up the hill, but we can't do anything with it. There's just no room there. The way the track just sort of waves left and right, there's no room to get alongside another car. So as we continue on, it's going to have to be a turn one, and we do eventually get the move done, but that took a long time to make that pass on Enzo Fittipaldi. But now with Jane Deruvala exposed in front of us with his damaged front wing, this should be nice and easy. Here we are sitting duck, and we'll make the move down the inside. He throws it over the inside curb in a vain attempt to try and maintain the position, but not going to work out for him. We've got the grip, we've got a bit more downforce on the front end of our car. We do have damage, as I mentioned, but yeah, we managed to take that position, and that I think will be all we can do in this race, because these guys are more than 30 seconds up the road. Frederik Vesti wins the sprint race in Monaco. Dennis Hauger follows him all the way there. The Vikings have taken over from Denmark and Norway, and meanwhile we are still back here heading into the Nouvelle Chicane. That is the gap the leaders had over the rest of us. How much time Deruvala lost, how much time everyone else lost following that wounded car. But still, it's going to allow us, in the end, as we were able to make those moves, to get a pretty handy result from what was a pretty tough race to begin with. So thank you to Deruvala for clouting the barrier, because that has allowed us to move ourselves all the way up into third position by the end of this one. Starting from P10 in Monaco, that is not a bad day's work.
Victory for ART then, after a quality performance. Davide, what do you think made the difference here?
This race, this win, was about one thing and one thing only: consistency. Anyone can be quick for just one lap, but there's a difference between that and being quick every lap, over and over and over. If you can do that, if you can gain ground when your opponents make mistakes, but then not make mistakes on your own, you can just push and push.
ART, the French team who have been racing since the 90s in various forms of motorsport, are once again back on the winner's podium today after a brilliant display of driving skill.
So Frederik Vesti takes race victory here in Monaco in the sprint race. He made the most of a few good starts. The second place goes to Dennis Hauger. He'll be a little bit disappointed after leading on lap 1. We take third, and I'll certainly be happy with that result after where we started.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. It's a good result for Jack Doohan, who extends his advantage at the top of the championship. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Lots of drivers impressed me today, Alex. But if I have to say one that impressed me most, it's Frederik Vesti.
And now a look at the team standings. Virtuosi moved to the top of the table. After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Alrighty then, well, that was a rather exciting sprint race here in Monaco. So yeah, who says you can't overtake? It was quite difficult, especially Fittipaldi put up a massive fight. Even Sato proved quite difficult. So yeah, we didn't have it all our own way, but yeah, it was a very fun race. But looking further afield, Teo Porcher, looking at our championship rivals, he's third in the championship, did manage to grab the final point. Amari Cordial, our main rival, actually dropped back during that race and finished 11th, so not the ideal race for him. But anyway, looking now to the championship standings, let's see how they have been affected by that race. We still lead the championship, of course, extending our margin to 24 points, and the margin to Pourchaire also growing just by a slightly less. Pourchaire now 46 points behind. Marino Sato has unfortunately dropped to 7th in the standings, now behind Jane Deruvala and Dennis Hauger, who are 6th and 5th. But our teammate 63 points adrift on 43 points. So yeah, he has less than half of our points tally at this moment in the championship. But he has had a good pace at other phases of the season, so you know, he can still come back into it later. Meanwhile, in the teams championship, we are 49 points ahead of Van Amersfoort, who are now in 2nd position. Cordial and Jake Hughes doing a good job for them. Prema Racing keeping up their consistency when sitting in 3rd, 58 points adrift. So that is how things are looking in the championship at the moment. But with all of that said, it is time we head to the feature race where the big points are scored. If we can hold on to our starting position there, we'll be looking fantastic in the championship. So without further ado, let's just get into it. The feature race here in Monaco, it's going to be a long one. Let's do this.
Monaco. Formula 2 has been welcomed back to this most famous of race locations, and the excitement in the air is building as we count down to the start of today's race. The Circuit de Monaco is, for all practical purposes, pretty much unchanged since its 1929 introduction. It's strange to consider, but this 2.1 mile lap will take the drivers here around almost an entire country. 19 corners, but not that many opportunities for overtaking. Instead, this is a track that rewards technical skill. So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's results with a look at the starting grid. Jack Doohan lines up on pole position, with Théo Pourchaire starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Cordial, Verschoor, Ayumu Awasa and Sato, Vesti, Fittipaldi, Hauger, Jane Deruvala, Williams, Vips, Marcus Armstrong, Clement Novalak, and Drugovic, Caldwell, Boschon, Jake Hughes, Lawson, Sargent, Calderon, and Roy Nissany completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's get down to the track. Alongside me today, I'm delighted to welcome back to the commentary box the 2012 GP2 champion, Davide Valsecchi. There looks to be a challenging race ahead of the drivers today, Davide. With that in mind, what are you looking out for today?
Well, Alex, I want to see how the drivers at the back of the grid are going to roll up. They'll need to make an impact in the early stages, and they're probably hoping for a bit of luck at the start. We may see some bold maneuvers out there today.
Alrighty then, so here we are on the grid for the feature race here in Monaco. And we'll see how this one goes. We don't really have any strategy options available. The weird thing is, it's actually completely impossible to start on the super soft tyres when the stints are arranged in this format. No matter how much you mess around with them, you cannot start on the super softs, which is really the only other viable strategy. So thanks, that's very helpful. But it doesn't matter because everyone on the grid is starting on the super softs, is starting on the regular softs anyway. No one's starting on the super softs.
Superb parking there, mate. Let's make sure we get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out.
But anyway, here we are on the grid.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed. Be ready with the clutch.
Stop talking. On pole position for the feature race here in Monaco. We have a prime opportunity, though it didn't go well for the previous pole sitter, the reverse grid pole sitter, Jane Deruvala, as we wait for the rest of the grid to line up. I didn't mention it, but there was a glitch at the start of the previous one where the 5 red lights never came up after everyone lined up. Regardless, we're underway here for the feature race here in Monaco. It's a decent start for us, and we're going to be able to hold the lead into turn 1. A little bit wide of the first apex, but doesn't matter. We are through, and we maintain first position as we head up the hill for the first time and weave our way through around the left-hander, and that is pretty much 90% of the work done as we go very wide there. That was not ideal, so we do need to be a little bit careful we don't make any mistakes, but start has worked in our favor, and we can now focus on just getting through the race cleanly. It's very unlikely we will be overtaken unless we make any silly mistakes, so yeah, we just need to keep it clean, keep it off the barriers, and at the end of 42 laps of racing,
no tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
we should be able to bag the 25 points, maybe 26 if we can get the fastest lap, we'll see. But anyway, for now we will just focus on one corner at a time, and make sure we don't run into many of the barriers that are in close proximity to the circuit here, as we get a bit closer to that one right there on the exit of the swimming pool section. But anyway, we've successfully navigated the first lap. A couple of little scares, a bit of a graze of the barrier there actually.
Tyre condition still looking good.
But we got away with it, no damage to the car, so that is all good. We've done it once, we just need to do the same 42 more
You're
times,
leading the
or
pack,
41.
that's P1. It's Porsche behind you now. Okay, gap to the car behind, 1.5 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. 16 laps now until your pit window opens.
So
okay, 32 laps to go.
there's an update, 10 laps into the race, absolutely nothing's happened. We've gained a slight lead over Théo Pourchaire, but at this phase of the race, there honestly is not too much going on. I'm starting to notice how aggressive that bump at the casino is. I keep running over it. I know generally you're supposed to drive around it, but that's just more effort. So yeah, I've been running over it and just lifting off to make sure that we keep control. But anyway, we are yeah, still just trucking along fine in this race so far, as we continue to push on another 10 laps further. A few have started to make pit stops in the race at this point, and moved on to the softer of the two compounds, the super softs they would be. And yeah, we will be looking to do that in around 6 or 7 laps time. But the problem for those who have stopped at this point, including our teammate Marino Sato, is they've got traffic, and Sato is right now stuck up behind Tatiana Calderon, who's not got the pace on the soft compound tyre, and Sato and the super softs are not able to find a way through as of yet. So very, very frustrating for our teammate, who was running well in this race. Started 6th, moved up to 5th off the start, didn't really mention that, but has now found himself in traffic. Anyway, we continue to move on through the race, and as you can see, Pourchaire and Cordial have both come in for their stops as we round out, as we go around the outside of Liam Lawson there on pit exit. So he's now actually a lap down. Such is the pace advantage we have. I don't know why, because we weren't a crazy distance ahead of Pourchaire as Lawson clonks into us there as we went a bit wide through the casino corner. So that's a little bit of front wing damage, unfortunately, for Liam Lawson. But yeah, our pace over Pourchaire, we gained I think about 13 or so seconds before he came into his for his pit stop. But yeah, somehow we're ending up lapping people. So
You're in first position, front of the pack. It's Porsche behind you now.
yeah, that is something we do have to navigate.
Box this lap, push hard on the in-lap.
But eventually it comes time for us to make our pit stop. I didn't react to Pourchaire due to the time gap between us. I figured we weren't really in danger of the undercut, and I wanted to have the best possible tyres later in the race, just in case there is any kind of stoppage, safety car or whatever it may be. And you know, if we did happen to catch a safety car and you know, get a free pit stop, all the better. But it looks like that's not going to happen, so we're going to be coming in on this lap anyway. But we are in a weird situation here, because we're around cars that are technically getting blue flagged if they're too close in front of us, but at the same time they are probably faster on the fresher compound tyres. But anyway, we eventually bring it around into pit lane, and we'll get a new set of the super soft compound tyres on. And
okay, mate, that's it. Go, go, go. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
we will make our way out of pit
Up
lane.
to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
A very tricky pit exit here, and we're actually taking it very slowly just to make sure we stay within that line and don't make any contact with the barrier on the right. You have to thread the needle through there. But
you're leading the pack. That's P1. Porsche is the car behind you. Okay, push, push. Gap to the car behind. 4.1 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh, super soft tyres. Look after these tyres now. You want to finish the race on this compound. 3.9 seconds.
yeah, we've ended up around about 4 seconds ahead of Teo Porcher by the end of our pit stop. So it did gain about 9 seconds of undercut when we were still pushing on old tyres. So it is significant, but we still hold the lead. And there's a fastest lap of the race just to confirm our pace as well.
Is 48.0 seconds.
So yeah, things are going pretty well for us now. We just need to bring it home. That's really all there is to it from now to the end. And just keep an eye out for any cars getting blue flagged or any possible incidents. But yeah, at the moment we are in happy territory. We're driving within our own limits, not making too many mistakes. And finally, at this point of the weekend, starting to get a rhythm around this circuit. That's kind of how it feels. But anyway, yeah, it's feeling good at the moment, and we just need to keep pushing on. We cut forward a little bit further into the race then, and
Caution.
yellow flag ahead.
Okay,
What has happened here at
got
the Nouvelle
full
chicane?
caution. The
That is
safety
Ralph
car's
Boschung
out.
in the
Keep an eye on
wall.
Delta.
What has happened there? We'll have a look on the replay to see what happened to the Swiss driver at Campos, and he just went straight ahead at the Nouvelle chicane. He turned left and didn't turn right. Something went horribly wrong with that car. We'll go on board and have a listen. Wow, the throttle was stuck on there. For Ralph Boschung, he had no choice but to drive straight into the end of the barrier, and that's a big one when you hit the end of the barrier like that. That's a very sudden stop. You can see it on board there with Jake Hughes. That was luckily at a fairly low speed section, but yeah, you never want to stuck throttle. That is not a fun time. And Ralph Boschung suffering the consequences of that right there. Meanwhile, Liam Lawson was denied the lead lap for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. And now Lawson, Calderon and Nassani are all trying to occupy the same space in the universe. So yeah, there's something weird going on here. I'm not exactly sure what, but yeah, the safety car has not picked up the leader, which should be me. It's picked up the last 3 cars on the track, and now they're all driving into themselves. I don't know what's going on. This is beyond strange. I've not seen this before. So
You're approaching the safety car. You're leading, so don't pass it. Stay behind the safety car.
yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Calderon gets through, but Lawson and Nassani still trying to. I don't know. I've got nothing. I don't even know what to say. This is just weird. I tried dropping back to see if that would make the safety car slow down, and maybe they would go past it, but that didn't really seem to work, and I didn't want to drop too far back because then we'd get into trouble for not being close enough to the safety car. Although that didn't seem to happen either. So I don't know. This is a very weird safety car. I'm not sure what the deal is, but something has gone horribly wrong here. That's all I know. But anyway, we'll continue to navigate our way through this lap. We actually decided to go through Lawson and Nassani, and that actually seemed to kind of fix things. I don't know why we were allowed to overtake under safety car, but it seems like that's what we were meant to do, because now they have stopped phasing into each other and have started behaving like actual physical objects once again. So yeah, I have no explanation. That's a very weird thing that's just happened. But at least for now things look normal on our screen once again. So yeah, we can focus on the job at hand. There's not long left to go in this race, so once the safety car pulls into the pit lane, it's only going to be a few laps.
Coming in this lap. We'll be pacing the field in sector 3. Make sure to respect the delta until the safety car's into the pit lane.
And it's going to be a 4-lap dash to the checkered flag then at the end of this one, as the safety car heads to pit lane. We're holding the field up, and we will choose our go point wisely. We could probably go actually somewhat early whenever we are allowed to, because we have those lap cars in between and we want to create a bit of a gap if we can. So we go just before the final corner, and Liam Lawson still tucked in there behind us. So we get a good restart versus him.
1.6 seconds.
And Teo Porcher not able to overtake, of course, until the line. So that will impede his progress, and he may get held up by Liam Lawson as well as Roy Nassani. So that's allowed us to get away, and now we just need to focus for 4 laps in this race, and we should be able to bring this home with the little advantage we got from that safety car restart. Again, not sure why Nassani and Lawson were not allowed back onto the lead lap. That was very bizarre, but anyway, weird things have happened here in Monaco today. Out of Portier into the tunnel then, and you can still see the blue flags flashing, so clearly Lawson and Nassani are still amongst the field, getting in the way, or well, not necessarily getting in the way, but amongst the action, and they're probably doing their best to not get involved, but they've been put into a very difficult situation ahead of an entire field of cars that have been faster all weekend. So yeah, it's an awkward situation. Anyway, we're now coming around the final couple of corners, and we have now just 3 laps to go in this race, as Teo Porcher is once again the car behind us. But hang on, the checkered flag is out, we've crossed the line, and that's the end of the race.
Ah, fantastic drive, that's just fantastic, amazing, you deserved that race win, well done mate.
What happened there? The race was cut 3 laps short. We take victory. Hauger's the driver of the day. I'm confused.
So Virtuosi have won it, and what a great race it was. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
The difference was in the strategy. Credit to the driver for sure, but races like this really drive home how much of a team sport this is. They did a lot of work on the pit wall to really make the most of each stint and to make the best use of the tires. But that said, all of that would have been for nothing without a talented hand on the wheel.
Another race and another victory for Virtuosi as we see the drivers make their way out to the podium for the final ceremony. Superb racing out there today, and a well-deserved win.
So it is race victory for us in the feature race here in Monaco. That is not a result I expected coming into this weekend. Teo Porcher takes 2nd position, good points for his championship hopes. Amaury Cordial takes 3rd.
And now let's take a look at the drivers' standings. It's a good result for Jack Doohan, who extends his advantage at the top of the championship. And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
Lots of drivers impressed me today, Alex. But if I have to say one that impressed me most, it's Jack Doohan.
And now a look at the team standings. Virtuosi moved to the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from ART this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. Well, what a weekend that has been. Please join us next time for another thrilling installment when Formula 2 returns.
Alrighty then, as always, let's have a little run through the top 10 finishes. We took victory with the fastest lap points as well. Then it comes Teo Porcher ahead of Amaury Cordial. Then it is Richard Verschoor. Good way to bounce back after the difficulties of the first race for him. It was the 2 Japanese drivers, Ayumu Iwasa ahead of Marino Sato. He probably could have got 5th in that race, Sato, but strategy did not go his way. Then it was the stars of the sprint race, Frederick Vesti ahead of Dennis Hauger in 7th and 8th. 9th place goes to Jane Derivla with Enzo Fittipaldi rounding out the top 10. So, How has that affected the standings? Well, in the Drivers' Championship, we are now looking pretty good, actually. We are 35 points, so that's almost a whole round ahead of Amaury Cordial. Teo Porcher, 54 points adrift. Marino Sato actually gains those 2 positions back that he lost in the sprint race, and re-overtakes Dennis Hauger and Jane Deruvla. Actually, he's tied on points with Hauger for 5th and 6th. They're both on 51, but Sato, with that race win earlier in the season, has the upper hand there. In terms of the constructor standings then, we are absolutely smashing it. As a team, Sato is doing enough against the other drivers to put us well ahead. 68 points back to Van Amersfoort, Jake Hughes and Amaury Cordial there. And then ART actually overtake Prema. They're both on 86 points. 86 points adrift. They both have 97, but ART ahead on countback. So there's great for them. And yeah, we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out, of course. But at the moment, things are looking fantastic for us both in the Drivers' and Teams' Championships. But that is all from the Monaco weekend. I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It is always very helpful. And other than that, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.